Shabbat Shalom. Today we have another parasha which is called the Parasha Yithro. Yithro after the name of the Moshe father-in-law. And once again we will dig a bit into some passage which I find very interesting and which I want to share with you. So here I will not go into the detail from Yithro meeting Moses. There is a teaching in itself, and you can read that in my blog in the Parasha Yithro. So here I want to go to the chapter 19 from the book of Shemot, Exodus, and I will read a passage to you which Jehovah spoke to Moshe, and he said, when Moshe went to Jehovah, because he has called him into the mountain, he said, "You shall say to the house of Jacob and tell the children of Israel, you have seen what I did unto the Egyptian, and I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine, and you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a kadosh nation." So this is what Jehovah told Moshe to tell to the house of Jacob. Now I want you to understand that when we read the Torah, it is as it is written in Romans 12:2, to renew our mind, to be transformed by the renewing of our mind, and not to be conformed to this world. And this is here a commandment of Jehovah for his people. And these people are the house of Jacob. Now, when we go into the book of Luke, or the first, I will go to the book of Ephesians, and show you something which is very important to understand, because there is a lot of confusion among the believers today, and I want to put that straight. Here in the chapter 2 from the book of Ephesians, you can read I will start with the verse 12, with the verse 12. "And at that time you were without Messiah." Excuse me. "And at that time you were without Messiah, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenant of promises, having no hope, and without Elohim in the world." This is to you and me. "But now in Mashiach Yehoshua, you who sometime were far off, are made nigh by the blood of Messiah. For he is our shalom, our peace, was made with us both one, and has broken down the middle wall of partition. As he has made both one, this means Yehuda and Ephraim, the house of Israel, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, the Torah of commandments contained in ordinance, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace." Here he say, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, the law of commandment. This is not the Torah. This is a man-made doctrine by the Pharisees, which were prevalent at this time, are still prevalent today in Judaism. And that he might reconcile both unto Elohim. You see, he doesn't reconcile you, but he reconciled both Yehuda and Ephraim, the house of Israel. And that he might reconcile both unto Elohim in one body by the stake, having slain the enmity thereby, the wrong doctrine, and came and preached shalom to you which were far off, and to them that were nigh. For through him we both have access by one Spirit unto the Father. Now, therefore, you are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints, or the Kedoshim, and of the household of Elohim. Now, this is a point I want to see, because we have seen in Shemot 19 that it says Jehovah commanded Moshe to speak to the house of Israel. How does it relate to us today? He said, now you are no more strange and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the Kedoshim and of the household of Elohim. The house of Elohim, what is the house of Elohim? So we look about in Luke chapter 1, and we read, when the Malach, the messenger of Elohim, came to Miriam, he told her following, and the Malach said unto her, fear not, Miriam, for you have found favor with Elohim, and behold, you shall conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yehoshua. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest, and Jehovah Elohim shall give unto him the throne of his father David, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Here, the Malach Gabriel tell Miriam that Yehoshua will reign over the house of Jacob. So the house of Jacob is equal to the household of Elohim. And this is what we read in the book of Shemot, the book of Exodus, when Moshe speak to the children of Israel, Jehovah told him to speak to the house of Jacob. And this is what he said, now therefore if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, all the earth is mine. And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a Kadosh nation. So, now this is what Jehovah told Moshe to speak to the house of Jacob. Now you know who is the house of Jacob. But let's see. And we go back now to the teaching of the apostle, and we go look to Kepha, first Kepha or the Peter, and we read here in the chapter 2 something very interesting. He said here, I will look for the context, but we will look at the verse 9 and 10. In the verse 7 we say, unto you therefore which believe, speaking of Mashiach, Yeshua, is precious, but to them which be disobedient, or the disbelief, the stone which the builder disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner, and the stone of stumbling and the rock of offense, which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a Kadosh nation, holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praise of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. You see, yes, now Kepha or Peter is making a midrash on Shemot 19. He explained the restoration which is brought to us through Mashiach Yehoshua. The promise was made to our forefathers thousands of years before and has been fulfilled now through Mashiach Yehoshua for us. And he go further, he will quote now the prophet Hosea and say, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of Elohim, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Oh, now he say, dearly beloved, I beseech you as a stranger pilgrim, absent from fleshly lust, which were against the soul. He's quoting from Hosea, and I will read in Hosea for you now. What we read is exactly the same what Kepha read, and we will know to whom he's reading. You see? Okay? When the prophet Hosea came, he came by the order of Jehovah, speak and say, I will take the context for you, okay? And she conceived, verse 6 for the chapter 1, and she conceived again and bare a daughter, and Elohim said to him, call her name Lo Ruhamah, for I will not more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah. We see here there is two groups of people. We have one side, the house of Israel, the house of Judah. The house of Israel is also called Ephraim, because the first king of the northern kingdom, after the split during Shalom, after the reign of Shalom, the first king was from the house of Ephraim. So it's also called Ephraim. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will save them by Jehovah the Elohim, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. Now, when she had weaned Lohuama, she conceived and bare a son. Then say Elohim, call his name Lo Ami, for you are not my people, and I will not be your Elohim. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there shall be said to them, you are the son of the living Elohim. Then shall the children of Israel and the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and upon themselves one head. So you see here, this is what Kepha is speaking when he say, you were not a people, but now, he say now, he say here, which in time past were not a people, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. You see, he's making a midrash here on the restoration, which is called in Hebrew tikkun, which is bring the restoration of all things, which is the work of Mashiach. Yeshua, by his death, his willingness to give up his life as a tzaddik, the righteous one, bring back restoration to the work of Elohim, which was broken by those who break the covenant, Ephraim and Yehuda. Okay? So here, this is how we see the promise from one side, in Shemot, Exodus, the restoration on the other side. We see when the apostle got the revelation through the Ruach, through the Spirit, of what Yeshua has done. So this is the work we need to understand when we read the Torah, how it is promised, how it is fulfilled. Now there is a great promise also in the same chapter. I want to speak and say this in verse 10. And Jehovah said unto Moshe, go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes and be ready again the third day. For the third day Jehovah will come down in the sight of all people upon Mount Sinai. And you shall set bound unto the people round about, saying, take heed to yourself, that you go not up into the mount, or touch the board of it. Whosoever touches the mount shall be surely put to death. He goes on and says, Moshe went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, be ready against the third day, come not at your wives. And it came to pass the third day in the morning, that there were thunder and lightning and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. Now, he goes on, and on the chapter 20, he gives Jehovah come down to the mount and give the 10 words, the 10 commandments. You see, and the people are there, they are listening, they see all these signs, the thunder and the lightning and the loud noise, and they say to Moses, in the verse 19, and they say to Moshe, speak you with us, and we will hear, but let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die. And Moshe said unto the people, fear not, for Elohim is come to prove you, and that this fear may be before you, your face, that you sin not. You see, the people were scared to hear the voice of Elohim. This has a very important consequence, because we read in a chapter in the Deuteronomy, or the Devarim, chapter 5, we read following. Now, it is Elohim who speak. It is Moshe who speak of the people. He say, and you say, behold, Jehovah Elohim has shown us his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. Remember, so at Mount Sinai, we have seen this day that Elohim does talk with man and he lives. Right? Devarim chapter 5 from the verse 24. Now therefore, what should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of Jehovah our Elohim anymore, then we shall die. For who is of all flesh that has heard the voice of the living Elohim speaking out of the midst of the fire, as we, and live? Go down near and hear all that Jehovah our Elohim shall say. They are speaking to Moshe, and speak you unto us all that Jehovah our Elohim shall speak unto you, and we will hear and do. And Jehovah heard the voice of your words when you spake unto me, and Jehovah said unto me, I have heard the voice of the word of this people, which they have spoken to you. They have well said all they have spoken. Jehovah said to Moshe that all what they have said, they are well spoken. So they refused to hear the voice of Elohim, and from this time on, Jehovah will not speak anymore unto people, but through his prophet Moshe, but also other prophet, and of course through Yeshua, who is a prophet like Moshe. This is what we have to understand. When Yeshua came into the scene in the first century, he came not a king, he came as a suffering servant, but he came also as a prophet like Moshe. This is confirmed from, you can read for yourself in Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 18, from verse 15 to the verse 18. Now, we see here that Moshe gave instruction, and we see how the apostles in the first century, through the Ruach, were able to discern and to understand what is the work of Jehovah for us. Okay? So, there is another point I want to stretch out before I close for today. In this parasha, the third day. The third day, we have read in the chapter 19 that Jehovah commanded Moshe to tell the children of Israel to be ready the third day. There is it's a very long teaching on the third day, and maybe I will make a video on this. But suffice to say that the third day, if you make a research on your own for the third day, you will see that Yeshua was raised on the third day. The third day points to the millennium, which come at the end of the 2 days of the 2000 years, when Mashiach come back to establish the kingdom of Jehovah. So the third day is very important to understand, and he give the condition before they come before Jehovah at the mount. He say they let them wash their clothes, and he say again, sanctify the people, and they wash their clothes, and be ready again the third day. Come not at your wives. Okay, so you can see that we found this teaching also in the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, which is often misunderstood by many, we read some passages which are very, very interesting and which give us, listen to this. In the chapter 7, which is well known to many, and we see that there is a counting of the 144,000, 12 tribes, 12,000 for each 12 tribes. Missing is a tribe of Ephraim and the tribe of Dan. You can read for yourself. There is an explanation for that. I will not go for the tribe of Dan, which is known in the tradition of Judaism. There is an explanation. But if we go in the chapter, we will find the tribe of Ephraim. I want to give you that because it's very interesting, because many are concerned with what is going on today in our life. When he has counted the 12,000 for the 12 tribes, he said, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindred and people and tongue stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and palm in their hands. You see, it's a great multitude which no man could number. You see, I will show you something which is very, very interesting, that all these apostles, they have the mind of Mashiach, they have the Ruach, and speak according to the Torah. We are here now in chapter 7 from the book of Revelation, verse 9. I go back now to the book of Bereshit. In the book of Bereshit, we read in the chapter 49, when Yaakov is about to die, chapter 48, excuse me. When Yaakov is about to die, he will take the two children from Joseph and he will adopt them into his own children and pour out a blessing on each of them. And he say, listen, in verse 17, and Joseph saw that his father lays his right hand upon the head of Ephraim. It displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head and Manasseh's head. And Joseph said to his father, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head, thinking that Jacob is making a mistake because he doesn't see very well. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know. He also, it's speaking of Manasseh, which is the firstborn, shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly, his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. Will you read that? Shall become a multitude of nations. What we read here is, after this beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number of all nations go in. Okay, the same as we read in here. This is Ephraim, my friend. This is Ephraim. Ephraim who has struggled with all his life, with all his descendants, because Ephraim is a boastful and religious people who do not obey the Torah and refuse because of the character. You can read that, read the book of Hosea, study the book of Hosea, and you will see how does Jehovah Elohim deal with Ephraim. And he keep going, he said, because now I want to connect with the chapter 19 from the book of Exodus, where he commanded them to wash their clothes and cry with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our Elohim, we sit upon the throne and to the Lamb. And all the messengers, also angels, stood round about the throne, and the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their face and worshipped Elohim. Don't worship Yeshua, worship Elohim, saying, Amen, blessing and glory and wisdom, thanksgiving and honor, power and might be unto our Elohim forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence come they? And I said to him, Sir, you know. And he said to me, these are they which came out of great tribulation and have washed their robe and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. You see, here we have the explanation, the spiritual explanation of the literal meaning we found in the Torah. In the chapter, Exodus chapter 19, we have the commandment, the physical commandment of washing their robes before coming to the mount. In the book of Revelation, we see Ephraim washing their robe and make them white in the blood of the Lamb. So this is something which we must understand. This is very important because we know that in the chapter, in Revelation, in chapter, I think it's 19, let me see, that I don't mistake you. In chapter 19, we see here again, from the verse 5 for the context, and a voice came out of the throne saying, praise our Elohim, all you his servants, and you that fear him, both small and great. And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude. Again, remember the great multitude. And at the voice of many waters, and at the voice of mighty thundering, saying, Hallelujah! For Jehovah Elohim omnipotent reigns. Let us be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife has made herself ready, and to her was granted that he should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. And he said to me, Right, blessed are they which are called into the marriage supper of the Lamb. You see, the story which begins in the book of Exodus chapter 19 will find its climate or its ending in the book of Revelation, when with the marriage of the Lamb. My friend, this is what I want to give you today, because the greatest problem is in the rebellion. In the same Parasha, Yithro, we read in the chapter 20, in the same Parasha, the chapter 20, I will read for you. Okay. Let me see. Let me see that I don't make any error. So he gives the 10 words and speak following. Elohim spake all these words, saying, verse 1, I am Jehovah the Elohim, which has brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other Elohim before me. You shall not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Jehovah the Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the father upon the children, from the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So now, this term jealous in our world today is misinterpreted, misunderstood. Why does Jehovah say that he is a jealous Elohim? Why does he say that? You know, jealousy today is another aspect. We find that in another place about jealousy, which is different. Here the word jealous is the Hebrew word kana. Kana is in imagery is compared to a chicken who bring his chicks under wings to protect them and care for them. And this is how Elohim is acting. He's acting with his children. He's jealous because of the love, the unending love he has for his children. Unending love. He has a love which cannot compare with our love. We are so limited. But his love has no end. Because Jehovah has bound himself to his friend Abraham. Remember, he swore to Abraham. He bound himself to Abraham that he will give him the land, and that Abraham must see that. He has not seen when he was dead. Now here, he said he is a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquity of the father upon the children to the third and fourth generation of them that hate him, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me. You see, Elohim is a father. He's a father who chastises his children in order to bring them back to himself. Elohim is not an Elohim of killing people by pleasure. No, he chastises. He has punished many of his children because of disobedience. But the purpose of it is to bring us back. If you and me today, we are in Mashiach Yehoshua, it's not because we are better than others. It's not because we are stronger. It's not because we are smarter. It's not because we have more knowledge. It's not because we are more intelligent. It's only because Jehovah loves you and me. That is the only reason. And this is what we understand when we read Torah and we pray about revelation knowledge, about understanding. We must find the explanation of this world which seems to be hidden, has been explained many times by the apostle, who had the revelation. They had the revelation because they follow Mashiach, because they follow Yeshua. They recognize that he was sent by Elohim. In the day we recognize ourselves that Yeshua was sent by Elohim and we trust Jehovah to reveal his Son in his Torah, then we see great things. So my friend, I hope this will help today for this Parasha Yithro. Be blessed. Have a good week. I will say Shavua Tov, and we meet you in the next Parasha. Shalom.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך יאה אדוני